So I wanted to give everybody a tip today about fishing areas where there's a lot of kelp in the water. The first thing I want to remind people about kelp and eelgrass is that when you hook a big chunk of kelp out there, and it can be this big to the size of the hood of your car, as you're bringing in that into shore to get your gear back, you want to do a couple things. One thing is you want to remember is you want to allow the surf to push it in. So you want to reel down on it and be tight to that big kelp ball. And then as the surf pushes it toward you, I normally just walk up the beach and bring the line along with me. And then as the water sucks out, I reel up the line and walk back down toward the surf. I progressively bring it into shore, and I don't pull too hard when I'm bringing that kelp in. I don't want my line to break away from it or tangle worse in it. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that's very important is that when you have kelp on your line and you're bringing it in, you always want to hold your rod to the side. You never want to hold it like this, like you're fighting a fish and get a big bend in your rod. And the reason for that is if you have the Carolina rig, for example, or if you have a lure of some type hung up in that kelp, occasionally it will break loose, and in particular if it's a Carolina rig and you're using an egg sinker, that thing will fly like a bullet. And if you're holding it like this, it will come right at your head. And there have been several anglers over the years who have lost an eye or their eyesight as a result of that sinker coming loose or the lure coming loose. So hold it to the side as you're putting pressure on it, reel down and bring it in slowly in through the surf. Never hold it up so your rod is straight up and down and has a big bend in it. That's what you want to remember with the kelp. And then second is really important about, well, how do you fish around an area for kelp? Well, what I like to do is places like San Diego, Santa Barbara, sometimes up in the Malibu zone, they tend to have tons of kelp and stuff in the water at high tide. So often I'll fish those spots from low tide up to high tide. So I'll look at my tide calendar, I'll find out when low tide is. Let's say low tide's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll start fishing maybe about 9 o'clock in the morning when that tide is filled in somewhat, and then progressively that tide, that water will come up the beach. You'll notice that at times, if you look around yourself at that low tide, most of that kelp, a large amount of it that's in the water and swashing around close inside, is actually on the sand now. As that water progressively comes up the beach, those fish will come up with the water and feed on the sand crabs and clams and worms that are in the sand. And obviously progressively more and more junk will get in the water. But from that lower tide, low tide, up to high tide, you'll have much less in the water. You have much better fishing at that time. Not only do you not like the kelp, the fish don't like that dead kelp either.